Good evening. My name is Charlie Robin. I'm actually a neighbor of yours from down in Yakima. I'm the CEO of the Capitol Theater, but I have the great honor to serve as the board chair for the Washington State Arts Commission, which is also known as ArtsWA. And the passing of the Laurel is a proud and storied tradition, and I am humbled to serve as the MC for this evening for your Master of Ceremonies. Before we begin, I'd like to welcome a Wenatchee resident and my colleague on the ArtsWA Board of Commissioners, Mary Big Bull Lewis, to share an acknowledgement of these lands. Mary?
Good evening. Hello. Tilhus, Stoki, Ishtikanchut, Nidaniku. Hello, my name is Mary Big Bull Lewis. I'm an enrolled member of the Colville Confederated Tribes of the Wenatchee, Moses, and Inuit bands, and a descendant of the Blackfoot tribe. I was born and raised here in this beautiful valley, and I don't know, I always say spring's my favorite season, summer's my favorite season. They're all my favorite seasons here because it's just such a beautiful place to be. I am a commissioner of the ArtsWA Board, and we are here on the homelands of my ancestors, who are the Pasquosa, the Shinpasquosa, the Wenatchee tribe. And how we say Wenatchee in our language is Nishquiquiyasht. Can you guys try that? Nishquiquiyasht. So you pick a side of your mouth to make those cool sounds. It's a lot different than the English language. And so that means that it's the people in between. And I wanted to share a little bit about our beautiful lands and that our roots are the first things that come out in the spring. And so we have our 4 food chiefs that we honor every year. And the first roots to come out are the Spa'atshalim, which are bitter roots. And then the first berry to ripen is the Shiaya, the service berry, who agreed to be chief of the berries. And coming up soon is a really important time for us as we're going to be celebrating salmon. And so we say Natitia in our language, and Titia. And so the Icicle River is really significant for us and where we go and have our first salmon ceremony. And so tonight we're here to celebrate Derek Sheffield and as the next Washington State Poet Laureate. Lamb Lamp, thank you all for joining us tonight.
Our next guest, who sent a video message, is well-known name and just about everyone in Washington. And he happens to know our next laureate as well, pretty well. So I'll let him share the story. And ladies and gentlemen and friends across the spectrum, please welcome Governor Bob Ferguson.
Hi, everybody. I'm Governor Bob Ferguson, and it's really my pleasure to say just a few words at the passing of the Laurels. And, you know, first things first, I just want to set the record straight. I did not name Derek Sheffield Poet Laureate for the state of Washington just because we were roommates at the University of Washington. Now, first of all, it is true that Derek and I met in college. We were roommates back then, but that is not why he's Poet Laureate. He's Poet Laureate because, as you all know and appreciate, Derek has a gift. And he's had it for a long time as someone who knew him back when he was a very, very young man. And one thing I love about Derek is he captures in his poetry the natural beauty that makes Washington really one of the most wonderful places to live in the entire world. Now, my friend and former Governor Chris Gregoire, she signed a bill creating the Poet Laureate back in 2007. So it's not me who's responsible for Derek being Poet Laureate. It's an appointment process that involves a competitive, highly qualified pool of applicants who make a recommendation to the governor. But I will say it was with a lot of pleasure that I had the opportunity as one of my first acts as governor to sign this for my friend Derek. The selected poet, as you know, travels the state to promote awareness and appreciation of poetry. I can't imagine anyone better at that than Derek. As a dad and as a governor, I really resonate with Derek's goal as Poet Laureate to help young people during his travels, particularly around issues related to youth mental health. I have teenagers, and that's something as any parent is very mindful of, those really challenging issues. So this position is going to be a wonderful platform for Derek to bring more young people into reading and writing, and also to help give them a deeper appreciation for nature. And that can go a long way toward improving mental health. I will just say, I don't just know Derek, but I'm a fan of his. In my office, I just stepped out of my office to the conference room. I've got a copy of his poetry I keep right in my office. If you ever do a tour of the governor's residence, which is just right across the street from here, if you go into the family room there, you will see framed on my wall there one of Derek's poems. That is right there. So I'm a fan of his poetry as well. Last thing I'll say is that about Derek is, if you get a chance, ask him about how, when we were very, very young, he wrote a poem during a concert of the Indigo Girls, and as a result of the poem that he handed to the roadie, we were invited to their backstage party after the concert. So that's a story you can ask Derek about. Thanks to the Washington Arts Commission, Humanities Washington, and the panel who did a lot of hard work to bring this recommendation forward. I'm also so grateful to Ariane True for her admirable term of service, and wish you all the best as well. I hope you have a wonderful passing of the Laurel. Congratulations, Derek. Looking forward to seeing you again soon for a walk around Green Lake, and I'm going to really enjoy watching your journey over the coming months and years very closely. Thanks to you all so much.
All right, thank you very much. So honored guests and colleagues, as Charlie said, my name is Karen Hennon, and I am the Executive Director of ArtsWA, your Washington State Arts Commission. Julie made sure I stood on the side of my banner.
Just want to keep things straight here. Hi, everyone. My name is Julie Ziegler. I am the CEO of Humanities Washington. It is our great pleasure to welcome you to this very special event as we recognize and welcome Derek Sheffield as our 8th Poet Laureate.
And on a little bit of a sadder note tonight, it's also a time to say a fond farewell to Ariane True, our 7th Poet Laureate, and she will now be passing the laurel from her hands to Derek's. Now, the passing of an actual branch, a laurel branch, has been a tradition since the Poet Laureate program started in Washington State. And in fact, earlier today, we were thinking we need to plant one in the governor's mansion so we can actually be picking the laurel from there instead of having to, raid the local gardens.
The State Poet Laureate Program is a joint program of ArtsWA and Humanities Washington. As Governor Ferguson explained, each laureate is appointed by the governor, and in this case, it was Governor Inslee who made the official appointment. The appointment follows an exhaustive, thorough, and careful search process orchestrated by our two organizations, and it results in a recommendation to the governor. And while Governor Inslee did make the final call, I just am a little suspicious that Governor Ferguson didn't have anything to do with this, but we're lucky nonetheless.
So, yeah, the search process for a laureate, a state poet laureate, happens every 2 years, and the process really does welcome broad input and participation by poets and writers and the poetry and literary communities, and by the presenting community, which might be the libraries, the bookstores, the theaters, the venues of all shapes and sizes and all corners of our state that welcome the poet laureate to present in their spaces. And the emphasis for us on in this process is that it's inclusive and equitable and very fair-minded.
So tonight we celebrate Derek Sheffield's appointment, and Humanities Washington and ArtsWA are honored to co-host this celebration and so happy you could join us.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Derek. Many congratulations, and I'm wishing you all the best as you make your way around our beautiful state, bringing poetry programs to all the corners. And I know you'll work tirelessly, and if I can ever be of any service to you, all you have to do is ask. In the meantime, wish I were there in person, but I have this old laurel that I'm passing to you in spirit, and I'll be thinking about you and wishing you all the best.
Ariane and Derek, I'm so sorry not to be able to be with you as you pass the laurel this evening. Ariane, thank you for everything you brought to your time serving our state through poetry. Derek, thank you for raising your hand, particularly at this moment. I am just delighted to know that you're going to be focused on youth mental health in your laureateship, and also just grateful that you are a poet who has always demonstrated the power of taking seriously what we do with words. I am thankful that you will be bringing that creativity and imagination with the way you think about how we give voice to our connection to the natural world. I know that you face some extra headwinds during your laureateship. I wish you well. I'll help in any way I can. Thank you. I wish you clear passes and great joy in these next 2 years. Be well, my friend.
Hey, Artois and Humanities Washington folks. I wish that I could be there with all of you. I appreciate everything that your two organizations do for our state, making people think about things, making people experience things, opening up their worlds. Derek, congratulations to you. You're very deserving of this role, and I know that you'll bring your generous and gentle personality as you spread poetry throughout the state. You'll visit people in lots of different parts of the state, and I think that as you share words with them, you'll find that however a person might have voted or wherever they are on the political spectrum, finding language through which they can know themselves and know the world is an enriching, invigorating, and important thing. And you'll be giving that language to them. I know that, as I said, you're a generous and gentle person. I think that you'll be surprised whether you're visiting Seattle or Concretes or Republic, how much generosity will be extended toward you. People are inviting and giving. And that's part of why it's such a joy to bring poetry, to bring words that matter to different parts of our state. I send my best to everyone, and I wish that I could be there. And I look forward to hopefully crossing paths with you, Derek, but more importantly, watching how you share poetry with everyone in our state.
Hi, Derek. Congrats on your big day. I'm so excited that you are going to be the new ambassador for poetry throughout Washington State. I'm also really happy that you're planning to work with youth. Such a vulnerable time in a person's life that even under the best circumstances, it can be hard to navigate. And poetry can be just the thing to help us through. So in the starry days of my own youth, poetry was an exciting feature of language, something to sink into like a dream shared with the person who left their voice to dry inside the ink. Now that I'm older, I think perhaps I cling to sanity through poetry, as it seems the only sensible thing in a senseless world. You can give this to young people, both the shared dream of a good, image-rich poem and the world made sense of through well-ordered words. I'm happy you've taken on this crucial mission. It's perhaps more meaningful than we can ever know, this power to impart the love of poems. In celebration of your taking on the laurels, I'll share a poem with you written by the person who I credit most with instilling in me a deeper awareness of what poetry can do in a person's life. His name is Jim Bertolino, and this is his toast. The toast. May you always have art to charm your days, a sensible hearth and friends as dependable as gravity. May the wind and creatures be as music to your evenings alone, and may your dreams leave you renewed. May you have an Appaloosa to ride the outline of blue hills and nothing that sickens and no black sticks. In the next 2 years and beyond, may you inspire many to the charms of this art, so that somewhere, someday, your words will be the perfect vehicle to communicate the exact thing someone needs in that moment. Best wishes to you in all your journeys, and we can't wait to see you in Bellingham.
And one important laureate who could not be here tonight due to health issues is our 2023-2025 Poet Laureate, Ariana Troop, who asked us to share these words on her behalf. Hello, everyone. Friends, colleagues, well-wishers, thank you so much for being here. I wish I were well enough to join you to celebrate this moment and its delightfully plant-based tradition. I love that you're not truly the next laureate until you're holding a bit of the right tree. Serving as the Washington State Poet Laureate has been a real pride and privilege for me. Everyone knows that laureates go all over the state, but you might not know that they sometimes get sent across the world too. They sent me to Australia, so Derek, be ready for anything. Meeting new people and helping them figure out how much they already knew, both about themselves and about poetry, and then get curious about what else was possible, was the biggest joy of my term. I also want to specifically call out the amazing queer and neurodivergent folks I met at readings and workshops, in shared spaces, both in person and virtual. Y'all are brimming with incredible ideas and the beautiful desire to really connect with the community, and it all gets me so fired up. Derek, I found you to be generous with your time and with your kindness. Solid traits for this work. And I want to say a couple things to you as I wrap up. First, congratulations. Getting this gig is no small feat. Second, I'm so excited that you're going to focus on young people. They are brilliant and so much fun to work with. I can't wait to see what y'all can do together. Lastly, you're not alone. The list of former laureates gets bigger every time we pass the torch, or branch, and we're here to help if you need it. Poets are a necessary part of things, and some of that is because we practice seeing what's really there and finding the voice to talk about it. And this is a really good time to help folks build those skills and learn how much they can do, to challenge, to inspire, to break what needs breaking and repair what needs fixing, to sing about things that need songs. Thank you for stepping up with your voice to help other folks share theirs. You got this. Now, it is my pleasure and my honor to welcome to the stage your friend, your neighbor, your instructor, your next Washington State Poet Laureate, Derek Sheffield. Sir.
I love what Ariane said about a plant-based tradition. So I was a little scared about being here today in front of you all. So I asked some of my students to join me. Would you all come on up here? So I wouldn't be standing here today about to be, well, I guess I just got inducted. And it didn't hurt. I mean, okay. So without my students, some of them have joined us today, are current students. Some of them are students from 20 years ago. They are Cougars. They are Huskies. One now makes poems in silver and basalt that she finds on her walks. Meet Slugworth. Let's see, another one has gone on to publish more books than I have. Where's Cynthia? Oh, there she is. Okay. So here you go. Just kidding. Another is now my colleague in the English department here at Wenatchee Valley College. One of them, believe it or not, knowing full well the economics of his decision, is headed to the University of Montana next year to study journalism. Are you kidding me? Missoula. I think, you know what it was? I think he read in one of my classes, there's this section from a William Carlos Williams poem. You may have heard of this one before. It is difficult to get the news from poetry, yet men die miserably every day for lack of what is found there. And one of these students is a practicing attorney with a degree from one of our most esteemed law schools, who watched her happiness, her bliss, her raison d'etre. Oh, I learned a Japanese term for raison d'etre today. Junko, where are you? What's the word? Ikigai. 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 Look into Ikigai. Okay? Anyway, this student, she's like practicing law, Ivy League, and she watches it just diminish, decline over about a decade. And she says, what do I do? And she says, well, maybe I'll take a poetry class at my local college. And here she is. Part of the cure for her, she has found, is poetry. And, one of my students is not up here. Gloria, are you here anywhere? Gloria, hi. It's nice to see you. You first took a class, what was it, 2005? 2000, something around then. We're both a little older. She also is known as Mamo in the Valley. She got addicted to our classes. She also took classes with Jack Johnson and Jerry Tiffany in creative writing. I guess if you're going to get addicted, poetry is a good thing to be addicted to. And I will never forget the grace, the special class of having Gloria in class alongside her granddaughter. I mean, they don't get that at UW. They don't get that at WSU, but they get it here. We get it here. And I wouldn't be here today without my teachers. I decided to join them in this vocation because of them, because they are some of the most significant people in my life. People who went to high school with me in Gig Harbor would tell you right now what I'm doing here. Oh yeah, you're doing your best imitation of Kevin Miller. Or friends who knew me as a student at UW, like Governor Ferguson. By the way, we're not talking about the Indigo Girls tonight, okay? There will be no mention of the crush that I had. I mean, how naive can you get? I was so young. Friends like Bob would tell you that I'm a watered-down version of Nelson Bentley or Colleen J. McElroy. I'm grateful to my students who have given their time. Is that true? Have you, hold it, how much extra credit are you getting?
I already took the time.
No, okay, it's over, okay. My daughter, I was sitting next to my daughter and she's like, you gave him extra credit, right, Dad? No, Scout's honor. I'm grateful to them for joining me tonight to help me read poems from my three teachers, Kevin, Nelson Bentley, and Colleen J. McElroy. And I think I've got one for you in here. Oh, here we go. Where are you? There you are. Hi. It's good to see you. Okay, and so let's see. Yeah, you're okay. We're going to start with you. So this is almost not at all rehearsed. Okay. So which I kind of like because I think it was Voltaire and Blakely's grandfather who said, "Perfect is the enemy of good." So enjoy our imperfections. And as you can see, I'm bookending myself with my students and my teachers because these are the people who have taught me so much about art and the art of living. And as for any imperfections that may show up tonight, what I have to say is maybe that's where the humanity gets through. You know, it's like that Leonard Cohen song, which I kind of know thanks to Boy Genius. You know, there's that Leonard Cohen song, there's a crack in everything, that's how the light gets in. Yeah, maybe that's where the soul is. Maybe that's why ChatGPT cannot write a poem to save its non-life. So here we go. We're going to start with The Train Home by Kevin Miller.
Monday evening after rain, the green's hard.
Against the soft new growth, the gray sky rises and presents a fresh distance, a space.
Filled again by swallows and slips of sound.
On the evening train from artists I love.
To glide through people's lives, a woman.
At the window watches moving light, a boy.
Arrives last to dinner, a man in a chair reads.
Steam rises in an empty kitchen.
This evening with swallows you travel by train.
You pass this man in a yard, his apple tree.
Close to blossom, its bark black from recent rain.
He needs everything home before dark.
Cynthia asked me to say a little bit about my teachers, so I'll say a little bit about Kevin Miller and that poem we just heard. You heard the line about apple blossoms, his apple tree close to blossom. Kevin grew up in Seattle, but his wife grew up in Wenatchee, and she would not want me to tell you this, but she was an apple blossom princess. Princess Cammie Miller. And so Kevin and Cammie, so Kevin has a really close connection to this beautiful valley Charlie. I agree with you, but don't tell, no. Okay, not up in here. Okay, this next poem we're going to read is by Colleen J. McElroy, and it is called Everything Worth Remembering, and it has an epigraph from another iconic Washington poet, Richard Hugo, who died in October of 1982, and this is the date of this epigraph here. This is some of Hugo's last words to Colleen. If you go to Seattle, you will be able to visit the Hugo House. There's a marvelous community-centered poetry arts organization on Capitol Hill, the Hugo House. So the epigraph is from Hugo talking to Colleen. He says, "Take off your mask. I want to remember your face." And he was dying of leukemia.
What is easiest to trace seems best remembered.
Consider any object, the dime store toy.
You carried on Sundays full of dull memories.
Your first wallet creased to a curve.
And empty in your back pocket always.
Oh!
Friend, with the sweet power to remember.
Look in your trunks of warm memories.
You put on a brave face, one eyebrow cynically.
Sorry. Raised against the logic of a sterile death.
You taught us how to gather feelings through things.
Let us push time back and forth between bed
and chair, as if we could replace air gone sour.
As an old kitchen sponge with memories.
Of how we began, recalling as best we could.
Names to trigger geographies of scenes.
Before radio, folks died with memories of families.
Still weeping in their heads, it was important.
Then to remember any sound that meant life.
Now you fill your head with random soundtracks.
Canned music that sells cars, gum, guns, music.
Ballets that refuse to let go of bones and haunt.
You remember half-remembered lyrics even when you grow.
Heavy as a walrus under the weight of your sorrow.
When pain spilled a second skin across your face.
I remembered the uneven silence of other death.
Bed visits and waited behind my surgical mask.
Where death is still just a dream I have.
Where it is easier to forget beginnings
than to envision how we might end. Ask any mother.
Who has misplaced the pain of birthing.
Or doctors who practice with no more than slight.
Of hand with life, or ask a poet who, like you,
knows what it is to fail at love and how.
Remembering too much of anything is its own
form of madness in the recesses of the house.
Next door, a sculptor works all night carving.
From stone, a shape he swears he sees hidden in rock.
The eyes I hide behind gather their own fragments.
Colleen McIlroy, I got a chance to work with as an undergraduate and a graduate. She was really fun. She was a dancer coming up. She talked to us a lot about the physicality of language. You heard some of the past poets laureate talking about the power of words, and Colleen brought a joy to her teaching and to her poetry as she sang those lyrics about her childhood growing up in St. Louis. And yeah, she was a dancer. She was the dragon lady. She was regal. She was the first Black woman to be tenured at the University of Washington. Didn't know it at the time. We kind of came out during COVID, and they had a ceremony. They dedicated a space to her. It was lovely. There was a few of us that just gathered at Seattle recently at the downtown public library to have a little service for her, read her work, and share some stories. So we have one more poem to share with you from another teacher, and this is The Rose of the World by Nelson Bentley.
As birds give all the kinds of light their names,
and trees reach multitudinously into rain.
As seeds in fragrant blizzards sow the wind.
Everybody was hoping they weren't going to get multitudinously.
And clear currents are known by the minnow's nose.
So does my mind continually praise, as starfish cluster on the deepest piers.
Sea lions repose on a heaving surf
that carves their caves in the basalt cliff.
As mountains know the infinite by force,
so does my sense continually praise.
As index and pilcheck continually pierce.
The wisdom of the light that folds the world.
As the seed multiplies the primal spell.
As the spouting horn lifts ocean into space.
So does my sense continually praise.
As imagination, soul, and sense
become as one in poetry and love.
My dear is the light in which I move.
The mystic center of the world's rose.
So do my poems continually praise.
Would you say your name? Yeah. And I just want to, before they leave the stage, I just want them to, want you to hear who was reading for you tonight.
I'm Blakely Brown.
I'm Roseldi Hernandez Ramos.
I'm Weston Turtle Fudge.
I'm Anessa Hansen.
I'm Micah Wood.
Sabrina Ashagi.
Cynthia Neely.
Holly Thorpe.
Jose Fuentes.
Kylie McGuire.
Leonidas Perry.
Joanna Levon.
Allie Ferrier.
Mirali Rocha.
America Guerrero.
Alyssa Mogan.
Hannah Lyman.
And Graciela Osorio.
Woo! My time is almost done. Up here. My 2 years is just starting. Actually, I'm not even on contract yet. It starts tomorrow. What am I doing? I'm almost done being up here. I want to end my portion today by sharing a final poem with you. This is one of my poems. If you know me, then you know I'm a man who's rich in daughters. Both of my daughters are makers. In fact, one of them, the one who's here tonight, is a current WVC student, and she is fortunate enough to be taking a sculpture class with Natalie Dotzauer right down the hallway there. Yeah, Dotzauer, come on. Right across the lobby and down the hallway, I believe you can still see their sculptures. They did these anti-gravity sculptures. So hers is one of them that's out on display. I stand in awe of her imagination as I've been doing her entire life. My other daughter is, sorry to say, studying poetry at Western Washington. You know, I got my friend Mike Showman, who's our amazing business professor, business and accounting professor, to have lunch with Zoe with me, and both of us tried to sell her on the joys of balance sheets and accounting and you know, all of that good stuff. MS Excel, spreadsheets. But alas, she chose to follow her bliss and is, like Mike Showman's daughter, majoring in English. Please pray for her. This final poem is one that goes back to an early March day about 21 years ago, well, no, not 21, when she was about 4, so that would be 15 years ago. This is called All of It, Zoe. For weeks, we had watched the meadow beyond our windows, its archipelago of puzzle pieces rising through the snow. We wrote our names on the calendar, playing our game. Which day will be its last? That was the day you reached up to take my hand and lead me by little steps out the door, down the drive, zigzagging off through brush. When we came into the light of the full sun, a mound as tall as you, we stopped. Its surface was everywhere moving and not going anywhere. An expression of living pointillism. It looked back at us, breathlessly, with all the excitement of your life. You said, "Daddy, we're in the whole world." Squeezing my hand, I looked away from the ants, the swarming shadow of some numinous thing. Your gold, unbrushed hair glowed in the sun. A pink barrette pinned your bangs to the side. Cold air on my skin. Bristle of pine needles. Trickle of meltwater under blue sky. All of it. And all of you and me. Yes. Yes, we are. Stickers. I forgot to mention the stickers. There's free stickers on the bookstore table. A Book for All Seasons, another great partner. They're here tonight. Thank you to them. And there's free stickers. I'm going to show you now the sticker that's going on my car tomorrow as I begin my 2 years. Yeah. What would he do? And lastly, so it is a challenging time in many ways. As we face it together, let's not forget to remember to give some of every day to joy, to get outside. One of the great writers of our region, of our bioregion, Brian Doyle, said, if you're feeling depressed, if you're anxious, if you're sad, go outside. In about 15 minutes, you'll feel a little better. In my experience, he's right. Breathe and make poems, read poems. I think we all need to practice gratitude the way we practice a jump shot or a forehand. Gratitude. Flex that muscle. So we get better at it. And so that we never, ever forget Zoe's wonder and Zoe's words. We're in the whole world. Thank you.